If fear is the corroding thread that activates all of my character defects, then fear of the unknown is brutal. And if control is a drug, then fear of the unknown is withdrawal. Because it is brutal here in early sobriety. My name is James. I'm a grateful recovering addict and alcoholic. I live stream here at 9 p.m. Eastern Time every weeknight. Feel free to call in on the number on your screen and share your experience, strength, and hope with fear of the unknown. I'm going through something, so I've been tripling down on my Alcoholics Anonymous program, the 12 steps, the 12 principles, AA meetings. Sometimes that's all you can do, because I've been trying to think my way into a solution for how I'm feeling. And, I went to a meeting tonight, and lo and behold, as is sometimes the case, another recovering alcoholic in the room shared something that was very similar to my situation. And in hearing his count of how he is unsure about the next few weeks, something he's waiting on, and how it's making him anxious, I kind of comprehended something, and that is the alcoholic, typically and notoriously is a junkie for control. You can go ahead and honestly ask yourself, does being out of control, or do variables that are up in the air make me anxious? Carl, you're in Maine. You have really bad anxiety. I'm not a big traveler. I don't like traveling. There's very little control in traveling, especially if you fly. Essentially, all your control is taken away from you. You have no control over your shoes and belt when you're standing in line. They pat you down. You have no control over your consumables and the amount of shampoo you can have. You have no control over who's flying the plane, where it's going, where it's going to, you have no control. We have the illusion of the control, which keeps us docile, but we really have no control. And in traveling, I'm away from my home. My home is my control central. I have my TV controller. I have control over the thermostat. I have control over the perimeter, my own comfort. It's my comfort zone. So essentially, venturing out of our comfort zones can trigger a lot of fear, and fear is the corroding thread which activates all of our character defects. So I will share with you what I'm going through. Let's say hello. Mike Lowry, sometimes you have to feel what you feel. Right on, Mike Lowry. Carl, happy trails in Maine. Mike is having a lot of anxiety these past 2 weeks. Says there's a lot on his plate, but he's grateful for his sobriety regardless. Well, I'm grateful you didn't use the word irregardless. Yeah, airports are a trigger for me, myself, and I, Carl. So are hotels. What's up, Taj? Mexico next week, huh? Shades loves traveling and flying, only to go on photo missions. Guadalajara, Mexico. Bonnie says, when I was in rehab, most of the people in the meetings said they had a lot of anxiety. I was surprised. See, I happen to like rehab. The bottom of the barrel, you go to rehab, everything's taken care of for you. You have no decisions to be made. Everything is controlled environment. right now I'm waiting on word back from a job that I really want. I got 4 weeks to just wait. It's up in the air. I have no control over the future. I have no control over what they find in my background report. I have no control over whether I get the job or not. I've done all that I can to control. And now that I've entered these dark waters of the unknown, I have no control. And it makes you feel anxious. It's like withdrawing from the drug of control. Then comes the third step and the 11th step of Alcoholics Anonymous. Turn your will and your life over to the care of God as you understand Him. Now, this takes practice because I can do it and be relatively comfortable knowing that I'm in God's will. That doesn't mean everything I want and everything I need is going to be fulfilled. That means I'm admitting that I have no control. I am releasing the illusion of control, and therefore there is nothing I can do, and then I relax. Acceptance of reality, acceptance of God's will, letting go of my will. There's also a lot of ego involved in the fear of the unknown. Your ego says, I want to get something that I can control. I need this. I want that. I'm going to lose this. That's your ego. And my ego is an asshole. Egos are kind of like assholes and opinions. Everybody's got one. So I was listening to this guy in the meeting, and another alcoholic described the same that I'm going through, and he doesn't even know what I'm going through. He was describing his situation, and it was the same variables that I'm going through. The unknown, a positive change in your life. I'm waiting on the word from a job. He's waiting on a class to start. He doesn't know if he can make the class. He doesn't know what it's going to do to his AA meeting routine. He doesn't know. It's the future. We don't know. And we keep grasping and insisting upon reality that we need some control. And unless we give it to God, he admitted that he's like 30 years without a drink. And he admitted that for the first time in a long time, having this unknown thing on the horizon, he started to think about a drink. And that's kind of the thing. I'm always trying to figure out how this works, how it all works, but there's a lot of variables, and with the realm of the spirit, it's really unknown. It's not tangible, but essentially I would think that when we fear the unknown, we have no control over the future. All that we have been able to do to control the outcome we have done, and our ego insists that we could be doing more. And when it hits the dead end of there's nothing I can do, it either accepts God's will or it goes to the liquor store. The power of not knowing, the fear, the corroding thread that is now activating all of our character defects needs to be relieved. The fear becomes so intense, and the anxiety becomes so intense, and the lack of control becomes so real that the alcoholic wants to drink. And I spoke up, and I said this last night. These past couple days, for the first time, and I'm in my 9th month free of drugs like alcohol, and these past couple days, it did enter my mind You're not going to be able to drink for the rest of your life when shit gets this anxious. When you get this anxious, you have nothing that can make you feel better. You got nothing to look forward to. You can't even go to the liquor store right now and buy a bottle. And I got pissed and entitled, and that was my ego. And through studying the steps, I recognized that and was able to find a solution. But I have to practice them diligently. I have to right now triple down on my program of the 12 steps. And it comes down to not letting go of my will. The closer I get to securing this position, the more my will takes over and gets greedy and fears losing control and fears losing it. Yeah, well, this guy was in his 29th year of sobriety, and he said he was thinking about a drink because he's got a question mark on the horizon. Will he be able to go to class? Will he do this? Will he be able to learn these tools? Will he be able to, all these questions? And that's basically, in my analysis, is our need for the illusion of control. I've been restless, irritable, and discontent these past couple of days because I found out it's going to be 4 to 5 weeks before I find out if I have this job. So my fear is, man, you're going to be in your head that entire time. You know, change is one thing when it's happening tomorrow or in the next hour. But change is a different thing when it's happening in 4 to 5 weeks. You know what I mean? Especially for this alcoholic. Mike Tucker says, I dealt with anxiety before I started drinking. Most of us were just treating our anxiety. Alcohol works in the GABA system, the same system benzo works on. Anti-anxiety. And now that we can't take benzos or alcohol, we have to find a solution. That solution, from what I've learned in the program, is step 3 and step 11. Handing your will over to the care of God as you understand it. Right. It doesn't matter if you're in your 29th year or your first year of sobriety. You have to have something to treat your fear, your character defects, your anxiety. You have to have something to do. And those are the 12 steps without practicing them. So as my will started to take back control, the closer I got to getting this job that I want, my will started taking back control. Without me knowing it, my will creeped in, and that's when fear comes in. I had been sailing on the 12 steps, giving my will over to the care of the universe as I understand it. Reality, God is what it is, life on life's terms, no matter what. Tragedy, comedy, it doesn't matter. Life on life's terms. I was living it, serving others, taking inventory, cleaning house, trusting in God, serving others. And then before I knew it, three days ago, my will had crept back in. I took the wheel back. I had thought I was controlling life. And if I wasn't, and if I am, then there's a chance it might go wrong. That's fear, anxiety, and pain. The good news about pain is that it's growth. And I haven't drank over it. Because if I drink, there's no growth. You go backwards. Yeah, we want to feel comfortable. Thanks, Taj. Do you think that torture could work to cure alcoholism? Bro, alcoholism is torture. And no, I don't. There is no cure for alcoholism. There is only a daily treatment. There is no cure for addiction. There is no cure for alcoholism. There is a daily reprieve, a paradigm shift in the way we perceive and act and treat our symptoms of the disease: fear, anxiety, restlessness, irritability, discontentment. And here's the variable. I got 4 to 5 weeks before I even might start. Like, you know, if I was finding out tomorrow, I wouldn't be as anxious. But there is the unknown laid out in front of me. And that's where the practice of the steps has to come in for me. That's where I triple down on my program. If I'm doing some service work, I do a lot of service work. If I'm going to some meetings, I go to more meetings. If I'm reading some of the literature, I read more of the literature. And it works. Yeah, I've been fired for a bunch of jobs for alcohol-related incidents. Well, that's the other thing that's making me nervous. Around the same time that I'm going to be getting a start date or an answer, I have that peer support specialist certification class starting. So now I got another variable. Will this work out with that? So as my control freak kicks into gear, I'm trying to control whether I get the certification and the job at the post office. Should I try to do both? You know what I mean? My control freak. But this is 4 weeks, 5 weeks in the future. So my control freak has that much time to grow and feed and do all that. And it really is bothersome. But the only answer is in the steps and the book. It's the only answer that I have found to work. That or chugging Jack Daniels. And yeah, sure, that works for 1 day or 2 days, but faster and faster you hit all that shit we all know about. You lose everything. Oh, UPS? Have I written it down on paper yet? What do you mean? What are you talking about? Step 4? And on to paper. Yeah, well, I just did. That's what I'm doing right now with this live stream and with the meeting. The whole paper thing, I don't, who the fuck knows? You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's always talking about how well it does to write it down on paper. I don't fucking get it. I don't fucking get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Write what down? You know what I mean? You see how restless and irritable I am? Right. Yeah. People say that. Whatever. You know what I mean? Write it down. Yeah, okay. I'll write it. I'll write it right after this. I will. I'm not just saying that. I will. I will try it. I'm open and willing to try it. And I'll write it down. But at the same time, I'm just going to be like, told you so. That didn't do shit. No, I'm trying to be open. Truth. I'm trying to be open to it. I'll write it down, but I have ADHD and I get pissed at things that other people do that I can't really do. Really wanting to smoke some weed to go to bed, but how do I not? Call your sponsor. Writing poems is not just an art, but a good distraction. God, please take care of this. Or a God box I've heard about. I've heard people do this, but my ADHD doesn't allow me to do these things. I've heard about a God box for decades. Having a box, writing shit down that you have no control over and putting it in the box. I still haven't done it. Don't really see myself doing it. I could do it, I could do it on fucking last week of my life and just been like, man, I should have been doing this my entire life. That's how my ADHD works. God, please take care of this. It doesn't help that I don't think that God is, an entity that is giving me things and taking away things or has anything to do with, meddling in our individual lives. That's not the God of my understanding. I lost that belief when I was told Santa Claus was fake. The God of my understanding isn't a God that's just like, you see what God just did to me? The God of my understanding is basically reality. Either, whatever happens, happens. The key is acceptance. Yeah, I know people that don't like nicotine or don't smoke. So the way God's will be done works for me, truth, is God's will be done on this job. That means if I don't get it, I don't get it. God's will be done. I don't believe it's good or bad. The way reality has worked, what I've thought was bad is good. You know what I mean? And good and bad is human construct. Why not just call it reality then? What's the point of word games? Because AA calls it God. And AA is a tangible higher power than myself that I see working. Why reinvent the wheel? Every time I've tried to reinvent the wheel, it hasn't worked. So I don't imply my will. I'm just saying my understanding of God. God, a power greater than me, a power greater than I. And that was just my understanding of it. God is reality. You know what I mean? God's will is always being done. Whether we call it good or bad is, and whether we accept it or don't accept it is what our is what it comes down to. The great reality or something similar in the big book. Meditate prayer 3, Jody Walker. Write 3 things I am grateful for. Get a daily reprieve contingent upon our spiritual conditioning. What are you talking about, a real God? Do you mean, why don't I believe in the God that you believe in? Because we're total different people. We're different people. Are you suggesting the God that you believe in is the real God? I don't want to get into it. God's will be done means to me that I'm not in charge. It doesn't matter how much I have the illusion that I am. Control is an illusion, and I can let go of my will. God's will be done. The power is greater than me that I cannot comprehend or envision, and I personally don't. I don't know what God is, and whatever. What's up, Miss Ford? Well, that's your understanding of God and his will, Mike Tucker. And I believe God is so vast that we all are right. Right, Jody Walker. My understanding of God is an incomprehensible and all-powerful being that is more powerful than I. I don't believe I can ask him for things like presents, gifts, and things in my life. I believe in the power of prayer, yes, but I believe I couldn't even describe how you know what I'm saying? I don't believe science and God are separate. I believe they are together, obviously. Is very obviously to me. But that's about it to my understanding. I believe I won't understand. I believe I'm like an ant trying to read an algebra book when it comes to God. That's my understanding of God. It is futile to try to explain it. I also believe that mankind fears the unknown and has a control issue and therefore makes shit up when it comes to what God is. Essentially, probably what I'm even doing anyway. We have an essential need to know because knowing is controlling. And we have essential need to control because I believe mankind confuses himself for God all the time. Look at what we did to canines. We are the gods of canines now. We think we're gods. I don't believe God made us in his image. I believe mankind made God in man's image. That's how stupid and petty mankind is. I'm with George Carlin. I'm voting for the comet, the asteroid, to end us all. We had our turn. We've made a mess of things. We're a bunch of egotistical dummies. So that's where I'm at. If the words for God are just conceptual, that doesn't help me. But if I can feel God's presence, that is different. No, I don't believe in holy books because God doesn't write books. Man does, and fuck man. That's where I'm coming from. That's where I'm coming from. But as you could tell, I'm in a fine mood. I just did this. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of mankind. I'm a true misanthrope. Excuse me while I let my dogs out. Right, Jody Walker. And one of my fears for the next 4 weeks of not knowing is that I'll be in my head. What am I going to do in my head? So I've been going to more and more meetings and listening and doing these streams and reading daily reflections and working the steps to the best of my ability, practicing the principles in all of my affairs, doing most of the stuff that's not me. To me, the 12 steps, the 12 spiritual principles of AA are a power greater than me and of alcoholism. The evidence is there, and that's that. But fear of the unknown, and lately I'm just like, I don't know. I'm working through it using the program of action, Alcoholics Anonymous. So I don't know. I'm kind of restless, and I don't want to be toxic. So I'm gonna cut this stream short. JDM Beats says, I didn't know who God was until I experienced hell on earth. I don't think those were hallucinations during DTs. They were demons manifesting because I was close to death. God delivered me. Right. We all have our own spiritual experiences. A fellow recovering alcoholic, I told him, when they ask how you're doing, you shake hands. I said, shitty. And he's like, I said, I don't know. I'm feeling a lack of meaning lately. I got some personal shit that is like bothering me. And right, Jody. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been hitting some challenges. What's my meaning? Even if I do get this job, what am I going to deliver mail for the rest of my life and then die? Is that my life? Those are the kind of character defects. And my irritability right now is another character defect that's being activated by fear. I've been fearing that my days consist of, I got a morning routine, walking dogs, do my workout, I go to a meeting, I eat breakfast and shit. Then between noon and 5, it's like, who am I? What am I? Why do I exist? I'm super alone. Am I going to be alone forever? What's my purpose? And then around 5 comes around, I got to feed my dogs again. And then I go to a meeting, and at 9 o'clock I stream. And you know what I mean? What's my purpose? Well, truth, I don't know if you know this, but I've had years put together before. I've had 1 year, I've had 18 months. My last stint was 8 years. So it's not about the years. It's not about the time. It's about what in the program am I not practicing? How strong is my spirituality, which is serving others, not concentrating on me. This anxiety and stuff, this despair, this depression, anxiety is coming from concentrating on myself. What does my ego want? What's it going to lose? What do I fear not getting? Shit like that. No, So my 8 years consisted of, I was in my 8th year, and May 23rd of 2023, I picked up a drink again. The 8 years, 3 or 4 of those years I was going to AA, it was fine. But then I took my will back unconsciously. My will took back over. I had started smoking weed. I had started running the show again, got more and more miserable until I finally just gave up and drank. Time ain't shit. Can I just say this? Can I just express my opinion for once in my fucking... Time ain't shit. Time is not shit. The only way that time is shit is if you get that 1 year chip and you can say, I've gotten this 1 year because for 365 days, I've been working the program to the best of my ability. If you get 8 years, you get that chip and you say, for 8 years, 1 day at a time, I've been practicing the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous to the best of my ability, giving it over to God, helping others, and cleaning house 1 day at a time. But when I went, I went 8 years, but 3 of those were going to AA, or 4 of those were going to AA. Four was just my will be done. You know, I was staying sober, white knuckling it. Most of the time, restless, irritable, discontent, whatever. But time ain't shit. You know, there's people that relapse after 24 years. There's people that relapse after 10 years. I relapsed after 8 years. It's because I wasn't practicing the program. I can say I went 4 years on my own will. That's celebrating myself. How strong am I? How concentrating am I? How focused am I? How much pain can I handle on my own? I did 4 years. Big fucking deal. I got another plastic chip. Big fucking deal. You know what I mean? Time ain't shit. Let's put it this way. 4 or 5 days ago, my program was on point. I've been on a pink cloud for 8 months. And then when I started to get the prospect of this awesome job, all kinds of shit hit. I forgot about my program, and I have to recoup, regather, and triple down on my program. It doesn't matter if I get 9-month chip here in a couple weeks. If I'm restless, irritable, discontent, and I've been fighting to not go get a nicotine vape because nicotine, sugar, sex, sloth, these are all character defects that you use as a substitute for alcohol. I might as well just be going to get booze because it's going to end up that way anyway. If I'm not working my program, that's the deal. So time ain't shit. It doesn't matter if I'm 10 years or 1 year. If I'm not practicing the program, it ain't shit. Period. End of story. I see people coming into the rooms all the time. Everyone claps when somebody gets up for 5 years, somebody gets up for 8 years, 29 years. You know what I mean? And you get the wrong idea. Oh, I'm here to get time, and time is everything. Time ain't shit. I'm a seasoned recovering alcoholic. I've been in and out of the fucking recovery for damn near 2 decades now. And let me tell you something about time. It ain't shit. It's 1 day at a time, and you could have a beautiful program tomorrow, getting a white chip, turning your will and your life over. That's the gift of desperation. Some of the best sobriety I've ever had has been right after my last drink. The week after your last drink, you're so desperate, you're willing, you're honest, you're open, honest, and willing, and your program is on point. You are so far away from a drink, it's unbelievable. But then you start getting time and your will starts to take back. This is a progressive illness, and your will starts to drive again, and you become restless, irritable, and discontent. And I'm gonna get my pink cloud back. I'm just figuring it out. This is pain that I used to drink through. So this is how this is progress. And if you don't drink through your pain, if you don't choose comfort over character, you will grow and become stronger. If you ignore the steps to grow, if you drink through your pain, we don't grow. We get stunted. Our emotional growth is literally retarded. It's retarded growth. It took me 3 weeks in the hospital for me to give up. To give up your will or what? Bro, I've quit alcohol so many goddamn times. It ain't shit. Quitting ain't shit. Quitting ain't shit. It's staying sober that's the trick, because your character defects come back. They haunt you. As you mature as a person, so do your character defects, so does your illness. And I'm sure a bunch of my character defects are showing on this stream, but you know what? I'm human, so some of the best sobriety I've ever had has been days after my last drink, because I'm so desperate. I'm so beat up that I'm honest, I'm open, and I'm willing. I'm so desperate, I'll just be like, you know what? God's will be done. Whatever. There's not much more. Now that I'm getting my life back, the fear enters. My will starts taking over. Am I going to keep it? My character defects, my fear. The fear activates my character defects. As you can probably tell, I'm pretty irritated. I don't know why. Who knows? I'm fucking human. I'm human, which is, humility is only 2 letters away from humanity. So, yeah, I'm kind of vexed. Because now that I'm 9 months away from my last drink, my will is insisting that I'm entitled to stuff. Why don't you have the perfect life? Comparing myself to others, and why is this taking so long? It's like my will is a little baby. My ego is like a little baby. Why is this taking so long? You should already have this job. You should already have a girlfriend. You should already have another house and be renting this house out. Why aren't your walls painted yet? Why don't you have money to do your floors yet? My will's like a little baby. With a power greater than myself, a trust in God as I understand him, my will it shrivels. It becomes less loud, less incessant, less insidious. My fear all but disappears because I say God's will be done. Bring it on. Positive or negative, good or bad, these are human constructs. And just because I get to vent this to you guys means I'll probably be feeling better as soon as tomorrow. But 3 days ago, I got my fingerprints fingerprinted, and then he said 4 to 5 weeks we'll get in touch with you about the job. Now I got 4 to 5 weeks to wonder if my past is going to come back to haunt me with my criminal record. Am I going to even be able to handle the job? All these things that I want to control now. My ego is insisting that I know the answer or that I control now. And that activates fear, and then fear activates my character defects. My character defects stand in the way of me being of service to my fellows, to anybody, being nice to anybody, including my dogs. You know what I'm saying? Like, my character defects become prevalent because of my fear, and that becomes prevalent because of my insistence on taking my will back. So I'm not working step 3, trust in God. Handing my will over. I'm thinking about myself too much. What is that a sign of? That I'm not serving others. To serve others is to get out of yourself, to ignore yourself, your petty wants, your petty needs. That's step 12. Without the principles of courage, perseverance, faith, spirituality, my will. It's all about my will. It wants to take it back. It wants to be in control. Now that I have a prospect of a life coming together, my will is like, it's about time. And why don't you have this yet? And why don't you have that yet? I'm just been trying to be honest. So I went to the meeting and I heard someone describe exactly what I'm going through. And this guy's 29 years without a drink, describing how the fear of the unknown is creating anxiety. And he's really anxious. He told the whole group this. And he said, and I'm not going to lie, I've been thinking about drinking. And that's why I say time ain't shit. My man's 29 years away from his last drink. And just like a fucking knock at the door, he's like, and I'm not going to lie, I was thinking about drinking. It's the anxiety, it's the will, it's the ego, it's the fear, it's the control. Your will is sneaking back in. I am in control. There's something I have to say about the outcome of this situation. And what's more is he had to wait 3 weeks before he starts his class. I got to wait 4 to 5 weeks before, and my will is insisting, what can you control now? What can you do to help you get this in the bag so it's an achievement of your will? And now it fears. So when I remember to give it to God, I'm relaxed. God's will be done. Get the job, not get the job. I trust it'll all work out either way. That's my understanding of God. I don't pretend to know that this job is what I need to be of service or to be of use to mankind. I don't pretend to know that it's the best thing for me anymore. My whole life I've been insisting on what's good for me, and the evidence is real. Looking through hindsight, like what I thought I wanted wasn't what I needed. What I thought I lost and what was the end of my life wasn't that. It turned out to be good. There's certain things that are happening now in the world that for 8 years or so we've been like, this is shit. This is horrible. America's gone to shit. Now it looks like it could be an actual, over the big picture, a good thing that happened to us as Americans. We come back stronger than ever. And that's why they say time takes time, and God, it's all on God's time. It's not on my time. I want the job tomorrow. I want the girlfriend yesterday. I want my walls painted. I want to be a landlord. I want this. I want that. That's my will. On God's timeline is huge. It's timeless. What I view as bad turns out to be good. What I think is good turns out to be bad. So that's where my trust in God. God's will be done. It's God's will be done. I don't know what's good. I don't know what's bad. God's will be done. If I don't get this job, that's not even really what I'm worried about. I haven't even been really worried about whether I'm going to, because if I don't get the job, it's God's will be done. A couple of weeks ago, I lost a job that I just loved. I thought it was the bee's knees. I just loved it. And I thought it was cool. And I lost it, and I was turned for a loop for like 18 hours. But through the program, I realized I don't know what's good for me. I never have. And I never will. Good and bad are a man-made construct. So like asking God, please give me this job, that's not my God. That's not how I understand God. That's how I understand Santa Claus, and we all know Santa Claus is fake. I don't believe in really asking. I ask for God's will and trust in God's will, and to be fearless and strong, so I may be of better use to my fellows and be something. useful to society and mankind, thus achieving eternal life. For after I die, maybe the people I have helped will go on to help future families and this, that, or the other thing. That's my petty understanding, which is enough to give me faith and keep me spiritual. As long as I don't forget that I'm not running the show. I don't know shit about shit. I don't know shit about shit. I don't know what's good, what's bad. I just try to do the next right thing in accordance to the 12 principles of Alcoholics Anonymous. That's what's been shown to me. But sometimes I forget because I'm human and I'm still practicing on remembering. When I practice trust in God, my fear is nowhere to be found. I am fearless. I don't fear a negative income. I don't fear a negative outcome. I don't fear a positive outcome. I don't fear keeping shit. I don't fear not getting shit. I just am. All is well right now. All is going to be well forever. That's trust in God. And I don't know what well is. I just trust that it, no matter what I think about it, that's what's going to be the deal.
Call from.
This is Carlos.
To accept.
Hey, how's it going? This is James.
Sir, I want to apologize. I put it in my pocket in here. But I just want to apologize instead of letting you know what happened. But I hope you have a great day.
Apologize for what now?
That I accidentally called you.
Oh. What
But
was
I
it?
I made a mistake and I wanted you to know about it. But I appreciate you taking my call back and I hope you have a great evening.
All right. You sure about that? You don't want to stay and talk for a minute?
I'll just come call my daughter. And I know you think something's wrong with my voice, but I caught the COVID and they put me on the ventilator and it scratched my voice box.
All right, man. Well, hang in there, trust in God, and do the next right thing.
Amen. Amen. And I'm so glad you mentioned he was your Lord and Savior, and so is mine.
Right on, man.
You take care. And again, I apologize, but I'm sort of glad to meet another Christian. 'Cause I guarantee it's getting tough. But anyway, I hope you have a great evening. And thank you so much.
All right, brother. Hang in there. Later.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Well, God's will be done. God's will be done. As this you will see, I got it from old timer Alan. I started getting sober when you did. 4115, I've watched it for years and stay inspired. Thank you, David Hopper. Well, shit. I've probably been a little short-tempered on this stream. The answer I will find in going to meetings, working the steps, and reading the big book, practicing the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Or I just needed to vent. I don't know. Life is trifling sometimes. But I do know now that that's because I insist on having my own way, and I'm not the driver of this bus called life. I'm not the director of the play. I'm merely the DJ. Well, JDM beats David Hopper, Jody Walker, Truth vs. Falsehood, David Cooks. The AA is great in my area. I'm on the southeast coast of the soon to be returned to great US of A. We had a low spot there these past since 2020, pretty much. Or wait. Who the hell knows? I don't know. I just have to continue to remember that. All right, y'all. I'll see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, stay out of your head. Trust in God, clean house, and help others. I'll see you tomorrow. Keep it clean. Keep it real. Keep doing the damn thing. One day at a time. Peace.